So continuing on, now it's making all the changes to the project plan and the schedule that it proposed. So let's see, once it's done, we'll see if the project looks a little bit better than it does right now. And looks like it's already applied the changes, so you can see the project reflect that initiate is now on top, then analyze, then build, then validate, then convert, and then optimize. Now this is interesting. There's no scope under optimize, so that may be an area to ask the assistant PM to say, well, what should be the optimization activities, or this could just be a very traditional post go live support and optimization that vendors usually bake in with just hours over time. All right, so this actually looks much better in terms of a plan. So now we'll see, yep, we still don't want to assign owners yet, but let's do some estimation. So let's provide some effort estimates for the project. We want to estimate bottom up. So let's provide estimates for subtasks, for tasks and subtasks, or just lowest level tasks. And this is a really good sort of approach. There are generally two approaches you take, top down or bottom up. And the best way to do it is if you're doing a budgetary guidance, you would do top down estimation. If you're doing hard estimation for actual sort of an SOW scope, you'll do bottom up, because that's where you want to make sure you're not guessing what your estimates are, and you want to be way more accurate. And bottom up only works when you have a detailed scope. If you don't have a detailed scope, you go top down. And ideally, as you go through a pre-sales process, you go from top down first through the top of the funnel activities. As you go to the bottom of the funnel, you have much better sales discovery done, and now you have a pretty well-defined scope. And then you're able to take that and do a bottom-up estimate for what your team will actually take to execute the plan. So let's see, it's actually preparing some estimates. I'm actually going to make this a little bit wider so we can see what's actually happening and what it's proposing. So it's got a bunch of tasks, it's got a bunch of subtasks, and then it's providing some estimates. And this is very interesting, and this is the right way to do this, which is we want to be able to take a particular job profile and then estimate sort of like a part way of doing it, to where you have pessimistic, optimistic, and sort of the best. In this case, it's an average, or you can apply a part formula. But it's given me some effort in hours, and it looks fairly reasonable. Again, I'm only trying to vibe it, so I'm not going to try to validate it too hard right now. And this is really good that I can see optimistically it says roughly 450 hours, pessimistically almost twice as much. So 700 hours is what it thinks is a reasonable effort estimate. So I'm going to say, let's create these estimates. So once this is done, I'm pretty sure we should see a cost associated with this project, because for each of the job profiles, we should already have rates in our rate card. And if we don't, we can ask the assistant PM to go fetch the cost of labor. Actually, it fetches the average rates from Bureau of Labor Statistics and a few other sources, and it does that for a particular geography. In the case of the United States, of course, you have Bureau of Labor Statistics, and for other regions, it's just based on whatever it's in its training data set. So in this case, let's see if it creates this, then very quickly we should be able to see what we think this project may cost, just as is, looking at the scope defined by the vendor. and what they're proposing as a cost versus what we think the cost is. But the real fun begins when you ask it to actually start to validate the project with an actual scope of work that may be more scope of work than the vendor is proposing, because that's those actual work that needs to be done, not necessarily what the vendor is telling us they will do. All right, so it's done a bunch of tool calls here, and it says it's created a bunch of estimates, so that's really good. You can see all these estimates being created. Let's see what the result of this is. Calculate estimates using rate cards, fetch rates. Let's see if it's actually done. We should see some rates. This is awesome. So now you can actually see most of these have been filled out. And what is interesting is for each of these estimates, you can now hover over these and you can see what the actual cost is. And what you'll see in this sort of muted text is actually a roll-up. This is not an actual estimate, so you're not actually double dipping on your estimates for the phase, but the phase actually just shows up a roll-up. If you wanted to do a top-down estimate, you would actually put in real estimates at the phase level, and that would be a real estimate. So at that point, you probably don't want to do bottom-up estimates. So this is fairly accurate, but this is interesting that it's got two NetSuite functional consultant and technical consultant. And technical consultant doesn't have rate, apparently. So we can actually ask it to go find the rates for this particular role and apply it as well. But let's quickly take a look at what our summary says now. Okay, this is much better summary for our project plan. It says we're going to take about 113 days, 700 hours, about $80,000 in cost. Now, just to be clear, that is the cost. If a vendor gives you a proposal, you can pretty much 3x that to assume what their revenue would be, 2 to 3x. So if this is the cost, you would imagine a project like this, they're estimating about $200,000 to $250,000. Or in some other cases, they may just be giving you the actual rates, and this is more art than science. So you can absolutely compare this cost to the price they're quoting and the staffing they're proposing versus what we have now. This is very high level staffing. You're going to need obviously more staffing than this in terms of BA, QA, and other roles in PM roles and a bunch of others that you could add. But at least it starts to give me some semblance of who are the roles that are actually doing the work versus what are the overhead roles. So I think this is a really good place to stop in this video, and then in the next video, we'll take the next step and see if we can do some work assignments. But yeah, this is, I think, a really solid use case of Kriyastream, which you're not going to see in products like Asana or Jira or Monday, Rike, any of these other Motion, any of these other platforms, because they're not really structured to manage work with this sort of workflow and planning approach with estimates. So yeah, super excited for this outcome, and I'll do more of a deep dive in the next video of the next steps. Thank you.